Hello everybody, my name is Dev, and today we're going to be doing the highly anticipated top 15 of my favorite PS3 games. But keep in mind, this is all in my opinion, and I'll be doing updates at the end of the video. All the mentions go out to Grand Theft Auto 5, the Call of Duty franchise, Skyrim, Bioshock, and Bioshock Infinite, Deus Ex, Human Revolutions, and tons of other games. Didn't make the list because I felt there were better games out there. So let's start the list, shall we, with a game that not a lot of you would expect. Gran Turismo 6. Now, I am a big fan of racing games, but recently I've not been seeing any good racing games. I mean, I remember the PS2 era, there were so many good racing games. One of the reasons why I was going to get PS3 to start off with was to get Gran Turismo 5, but then when I heard it was delayed to 2009, I was pretty mad. And then when it came out, I was disappointed with it. For the lack of cars in the game, the whole premiere thing was wrong. Then last year, Gran Turismo 6 came out. And yes, it did have its complaints, like the premiere and standard car thing was still back, but 1,200 cars in one game. How cool is that? So, let's go on to number 14, which is Battlefield 3. I mean, I'm going to tell you really quickly, Battlefield is the best when it comes to multiplayers. They made one of the best multiplayers of all time in Battlefield 3. And yes, Battlefield 4 is good, but it's better on the next gen. If I were to make a next gen countdown, Battlefield 4 would make it, but it's impossible. You don't know what a good multiplayer is if you haven't played Battlefield 3. And coming in at number 13, we see Portal 2. This game is so lovable. And I'm going to just tell you the basic concept of this game. You have a gun that shoots a portal. Shoot a portal on one side and shoot a portal on the other side. Walk into the first portal, come out the other portal. And it was made by Valve. And I was so amazed at this game. Because not just because of its interesting puzzle concepts, because I love puzzle games, but it's lovable characters and cool plot to it. So for that, it makes my list. And coming in at number 12, we see Arkham Origins. Now, Arkham Origins didn't improve on a lot of stuff compared to Arkham City, but it did in the open world. Basically, instead of just being in part of Arkham City, you are now thrown into Gotham City. It basically is a humongous open world, one of the great superhero games. I mean, yes, it might not be the best in the franchise, and it does have its slacks, it does have its cons. For example, a story which in my eyes felt a little bit forced, if you ask me, but besides that, it was a great open world game. And the multiplayer, I mean, it was meant to kind of sell money, but besides that, it was great. And coming in at number 11 is Arkham Asylum. Now, as you've seen, Arkham Origins is a good game. Arkham Asylum is almost even better game. And yes, it wasn't a free roam game, it was all plot-based, but it was brilliant. Basically, you're in the Arkham jail, known as Arkham Asylum, where all the big criminals in Arkham City go. From Gotham City, I'm sorry. From Gotham City go. What this basically means is you're now in the jail during a jailbreak. You now must have to stop all the villains from escaping. The plot does sound a bit babyish, but it is a serious game and it's brilliant. And I recommend anybody who likes superhero games to start off with this entry into the Arkham series. And coming in at number 10, we see Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge is so basic, I don't even have to get into it. I mean, yes, it's a 6-hour campaign game, but there's brilliant time trials. It's basic. It's basically, I'm going to tell you really quickly. So, what you do in Mirror's Edge is you are what they call a runner, and it's not a Last of Us zombie. A runner is basically someone who pushes themselves to the limits, what they call the Mirror's Edge. They basically, after the government of the city has gone down, you are now in here to do deeds that stop this government from their evil plans. And number 9 comes in, we see Infamous 2. Infamous 2 is probably one of the funnest superhero games of all time. And the thing is, it's not based off any comics, which makes it very original. So here's the plot of the game. I'm sorry, I haven't played this game in a while, so let me think. Alright, so the plot of this game is, you basically are this guy, who has abilities, and this is a sequel to the already really good Infamous. It has a much better, well worked out plot. And it's the powers, my gosh, the electricity powers is just chaotic. It's brilliant. And with the new Infamous Second Son coming pretty soon, we should be seeing some really cool stuff on the PS4. And coming in number 8, we see Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain is so good. It's so good and so cinematic. It almost isn't even a video game. But for people who have played it, it is a video game, and it's probably one of the greatest video games ever made. That's how good this game is. The thing I've always loved about this game is how cinematic it is. It's basically you're playing a video game, but you're not playing a video game. You're playing a movie, but you're still holding a controller, and you're controlling the guy with some button moves, but it's still a movie. It's very confusing. Basically, your son, you basically play as a man, Ethan Hunt. I think that's his name. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Ethan Mars. He plays a man named Ethan Mars, whose son has been kidnapped by the so-called Origami Killer. And this game is so interactive. Basically, it's displayed as how far will you go to save your son now. Ethan Mars is not the only guy you play as. There are 3 other playable characters, and at one point all their paths will cross. And some choices even evolve into having some other characters die, and having the ending be completely different to what it should be. And coming in at number 7, we see Uncharted Drake's Fortune. I mean, I have to admit, yes, this game could be called the little brother compared to its older brothers, but the game is still really good. I mean, yes, the story is pretty short, but it's still brilliant. It takes Nathan Drake and his friends into an adventure to find the El Dorado. And it's a cool plot. Sadly though, it had to have its cons for a very short campaign and a multiplayer that wasn't there, which basically meant a sequel had to be made, and sequel was made. And coming in at number 6, we see Metal Gear Solid 4, and this game was so good, and just like Heavy Rain, it almost wasn't even a video game. Some people complain that you spent too much time watching cutscenes and actually playing the game, but that wasn't a complaint for me. I love cinematic games. It was an experience better than anything I've ever played. The cool thing about the game was, I mean, yes, it could have got boring watching cutscenes for a while, but how lovable the character Snake was. It's probably one of his final missions after retiring. Sorry, I'm going to play this one. But it's one of his final missions to save the world. And coming in at number 5 is a cool Old West game made by Rockstar known as Red Dead Redemption. Basically, you play as John Marston, who has to do some unfinished business with others who have left him to rot in the past. It's one of the best open world. It's probably one of the best open world games you can play out there, and it's humongous. It's the cool thing. But let's get on to number 4. Number 4 is Arkham City. This is my favorite in the whole Arkham series. I mean, Arkham Asylum and Arkham Origins were good, but Arkham City evolved into an open world game. One of the best plots I've ever seen in a whole video game. And it's just so many side missions, so many cool characters, and so many interesting details, and the plot twist in the end was brilliant in my opinion. And coming in at number 3, we see Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception. Coincidence? Is that number 3? I don't think it's coincidence. I mean, this game was so good. Basically what happens was, so basically the cool things about this game were, this game went a lot more into Nathan Drake's path, origins, to how he came to his name, and how he met Sully, and multiplayer got even bigger, and it was brilliant, so much customization in this game, but it all came at a cost of an 8-hour campaign. Coming back to Uncharted Drake's Fortune, but still, this is one of the best games you can play on the PS3, no doubt. And at number 2, we see The Last of Us. This is, the best zombie game I've ever played in my life. Man, this is man, I don't know what to say about this game. This game blew me away, graphically, story-wise, characters. I can go on and on and on about how good The Last of Us was. It was almost a perfect video game. If not, it was a perfect video game. It had a humongous campaign, characters you cared about, and just that survival element. It wasn't a typical zombie game where we have unlimited ammo. You are low on resources and everything. It showed what real apocalypse would have looked like if it actually happened, and that's what made this game so well. Now, easily, Uncharted 3 or Last of Us could have been number 1, but it didn't. Number 1 it's too simple. It had to be Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. This game is the greatest game ever made, ever. This is easily the greatest game ever made. Nothing could ever top it. That's how good the story was. Great characters, frightening characters. I mean, hysterical characters. They were all funny, scary, and just characters you would love instantly. The campaign is solid. A 10-hour or 11-hour campaign that takes you and Drake's friends on the adventure to find the lost city of Shambhala and the Shintanami Stone. This game is perfect. It's what started the trend developers do today, which is cinematic reviews. And yes, MGS4, that did do cinematic, but this game didn't need cutscenes to move on. Graphically, it's probably one of the greatest games ever made. I mean, some people even say that the Uncharted 2 graphics were better than the Uncharted 3 graphics, and when I believe them, I can still say that's good. I really believe that. Uncharted 2 is the greatest game ever made. Period. Alright, that is my countdown. Hope you guys enjoyed my top 15 favorite PS3 games of all time. Keep in mind, this is all my opinion. Tell me what you think in the comments below. But thank you for watching. My name is Dev, and I bid you all farewell, and I'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoy.